Welcome everybody to my driver ratings for the 2025 Formula One Mexico City Grand Prix. If you don't know, every single Monday after a Grand Prix weekend, we hop on the Twitch stream. We look at the drivers, the race highlights. We look at the drivers' reactions. We look at the Discord or the news and memes from overnight. We look at F1 Fantasy and F1 Predict, and then we end the stream on Twitch and YouTube with our driver ratings, which we're going to get into now. Now, we are going to go in reverse finishing order of the race, talk about each driver's race and qualifying, and give them a rating out of 10. Now, unfortunately, we normally have a poll on screen that you can vote on. The poll website isn't working, so you're not going to be able to see the poll on screen, which is a shame. So just type in chat, let me know what you vote, rate each driver, and I'll obviously put my rating on screen like I normally do. So yeah, let's get on into it. So starting off with, let me give the poll website one more try. Let me give the poll website one more try. Nope, not working for some reason. That's weird. Excuse me. All right. First up, we have got Liam Lawson, the first driver to retire. What do you rate Liam Lawson out of 10? Get your votes in. Well, you can't get your votes in on the poll. Just let me know in chat what you rate him and why you rate him that. Yeah. So Liam, in qualifying, he qualified in P15. He got out qualified by Hedger by 2/10. No, actually, what happened to Liam in qualifying? Because he's 2 seconds behind Hedger. Did he invalidate? Or 1.2 seconds behind Hedger? Did he invalidate? What happened? Oh, I think he made a mistake. Yeah, he wasn't able to string a lap together. Yeah, so you got out qualified by 1.2 seconds by Hedger. Hedger qualified P9. Liam was down in P15. But then in the race, on the first lap, he went around the outside of Sainz. You could argue maybe slightly risky because he knew there was 3 cars on his inside, but Sainz decided to just turn left right into Liam. No, not Liam's fault at all. And Liam's race was over by lap 1. So I'm going to give Liam an inconclusive. Obviously if I had to rate him based off of qualifying, it would probably be like a 4. But he didn't get to do a single lap of the race and then retired shortly after with all his damage. So he is going to get an inconclusive from me. But what are you guys saying? 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2.5. Yeah. I mean, if I was going to rate him, I'd rate him around that as well. Didn't get a lap together. Yeah. Anyways, I'm giving Liam a inconclusive. This is so weird without the poll today. It's such a shame. All right, moving on. Next driver, we've got another retiree. Is that the word? Retiree. We've got Nico Hulkenberg. What do you rate Hulkenberg out of 10? So Hulkenberg, in qualifying, he out-qualified Gabby by 2/10. He qualified in P13. Gabby went out in P16. However, in the race, he retired pretty early on. He did 25 laps. What happened to Hulk before that, though? Like, before lap 25, Hulk had already dropped down to P18. What happened? Why is he down in P17 straight away in that race? Hulk had the issues at the formation lap. Power unit issue? Engine issue? Really? Okay. Because I was going to say, like, I don't remember seeing anything from Hulk in that race. And obviously with him retiring, I think it's fair to give him an inconclusive because, he did really well in qualifying. And then I just don't understand why he dropped so far. So yeah, I'm going to give Hulkenberg an inconclusive as well because we didn't get to see anything from him. Yeah. Power unit issue. Yeah, okay, yeah. I'm giving him inconclusive. I thought maybe if he lost positions or had bad race pace then retired, maybe we could rate him, but no. Yeah, if I was to rate him based off qualifying, I'd probably give him like a solid 6. Like he did his job, qualifying P13. But yeah, weren't able to see him in the race at all. So I'm going to give him an inconclusive. All right, next up, we've got another retiree, but later on in the race, we've got Fernando Alonso. What do you rate Fernando out of 10? Now, Fernando in qualified P14, out-qualified his teammate by 4/10. And then in the race, he was chilling around the P14 mark. His teammate then caught him. He was instructed to give the place up. And then he retired. So yeah, I'm kind of, I don't know. I feel like we kind of have to rate Alonso because we did get to see his race pace, but then again, he had issues that made him retire. So I don't know. What are you guys saying? 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, out qualified Stroll. That doesn't count. Okay, it's just the same person spamming 4. Chill out. Chill out, fam. I don't know. I don't know. Does he get it inconclusive or does he get a rating? Because like if we're rating qualifying, he did decent. Or he did okay. But then in the race, his race pace wasn't great. But then I don't know when the issue kind of started to occur for him. So I don't know. It's kind of hard to rate. I don't know. It's hard because was he actually struggling or was he struggling because of his car? To be honest, I'm just going to give Alonso inconclusive as well. He did less than half the race and it's kind of hard to tell. Yeah, we'll go inconclusive just because I don't know what to rate him if the issues weren't his problem. All right, finally, can we move on to someone that almost finished the race and we can actually rate? We've got Carlos Sainz. Well, actually, even he's kind of hard to rate. What do you rate Carlos out of 10? Let me know in chat. Carlos qualified P7. He was best of the rest. He also outqualified Oscar Piastri. He outqualified Albon by 3/10. Albon went out in P17. Carlos was all the way up in P7. However, in the race, he obviously had a 5-place grid penalty for his antics in Kota, and then turned into an absolute menace in the race, driving to the side of Liam, which gave himself damage, which then caused him to have a problem in the pit lane, where he got 2 penalties, and then his race was kind of over from there. So it's kind of a hard one. Qualifying, he was insane. Like, I'd give him probably a 10 for quali. Like, he did his job and out-qualified Piastri. That's amazing. You know, he's also only a 10th off of milliseconds off of out-qualifying Kimi and a 10th off of out-qualifying Max and George. So, yeah. But then those incidents that he had in the race completely caused his race to flop. You know, even with his grid pen, he still could have recovered well, but he didn't. So, I don't know. I'm thinking like maybe it balances out to like a 4. Like, you know, if we just looked at the race, he'd probably get like a fucking 2. Because he also spun and retired from the race, by the way. He spun on his own. That caused the VSC. So yeah, I think you'd get like a 2 for the race. But we'll bump it up to a 4 just because of how good his qualifying form was. Yeah. Ponder's Max to win this. Wait, what do you mean? Max to win the championship? I hope so, man. I hope so. What are you guys saying? 3, 3, 3, 6, 6, 5, 3, 5.5, 4, 4. Yeah. At least 5 for quali. I mean, yeah, but overall the weekend was poor. I'm thinking of 4. Because it doesn't matter where you quali if you don't string it together in the race. Yeah. I'm going 4. I'm gonna go 4 for Sainz. That's such a shame the polls aren't working. All right, next up, we've got Franco Colapinto. What do you rate Franco out of 10? Guys, if you're just tuning in, we don't have the poll today because the poll website's down. So just let me know in chat what you vote. So Franco in qualified dead last. He got out-qualified by his teammate by 1/10. But again, he's still only 1/10 off of Gasly, which is not bad. Then in the race, he finished in P16. I believe like tenths behind Gasly. So yeah, I think the Alpine just sucks. It's nothing to do with the drivers. The Alpine just sucks. But Franco is finishing behind his teammates. So it's really hard to rate these guys. You know what I mean? Like, realistically, they're not doing a bad job. The car is just bad. So I don't know. Do we give Franco a 5 and Gasly a 6? Or do we give Franco a 4 and Gasly a 5? What do you think? Because Gasly outqualified Franco and outraced him. So what do you think? Do you think Gasly deserves a 6 or a 5? Yeah, I think it's harsh to rate them low. At the end of the day, Franco had no incidents. Didn't cause any incidents. Again, didn't get caught up in any incidents. I think it's only fair to give Colapinto a 5. Actually, maybe a 4.5 because he was below his teammate in qualifying and the race. But it wasn't bad. Yeah, I'm going to go 4.5 for Franco. Yeah, you could almost give these guys inconclusive because it's so hard to rate them. Then we've got Gasly. What do you rate Gasly out of 10? Let me know in chat. I'm going to then say Gasly a 5.5 because, again, he outqualified his teammate in both qualifying. He beat his teammate in both qualifying and the race. But there's not much more he can do. He also, to be fair, he did beat Stroll in quali as well. He did beat Stroll in quali as well. And they kept it clean. They kept it clean. There's nothing more they can do. But I feel like I can't give them higher than like a 5. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they just don't have a chance to show themselves. It's just what happens when you're at the back of the grid. Yeah. Actually, no, I'm changing it. I'm changing it. It's not fair. I'm giving Gazzy a 6, and I'm giving Franco a 5, because it is not fair to give them lower than that when... What are they supposed to do, bro? What are they supposed to do? Yeah, 6 is like... Dece. 6 is like Dece weekend. And like, what do they do wrong? Is that we're rating the performances though, guys. We're not rating their results. What did Gasly do wrong, man? What did Gasly do wrong? Yeah, I'm going 6 for Gasly, 5 for Franco. Gasly expected to do better. You reckon he should be doing better than Colapinto? Gasly also made that weird call for hards. True. Okay, back down to 5.5. Back down to 5.5. Both of them might have had done a 10 out of 10 race without us. Exactly. It's just so hard when the car is so poo. Anyways, let's just move off of Alpine. We'll keep it 5.5 for Gasly, 4.5 for Colapinto. Next up, we have got Lance Stroll. What do you rate Lance out of 10? What's up, James? How's it going, dude? So Lance in qualifying got out qualified by Alonso by 4/10. Alonso qualified P14. He qualified P19. He got out qualified by Pierre Gasly. Yeah, it's just a poor qualifying from Lance. Then in the race, he spun on the opening lap. I think it was on his own. And then he managed to recover to P14, which was basically just beating both the Alpines, which is not impressive at all. He did have better race pace than Alonso, but we're going to assume that was because Alonso's issues. So realistically, Stroll kind of did nothing all weekend. So I'm going to give him a 3. Maybe it should be a 2.5 because he spun. But then again, like, he didn't crash, and Alonso didn't have a great weekend. So I think 3 is fair, given how Alonso didn't have a great weekend either. But normally he'd be below a 3 because of how bad he is in comparison to Alonso. Wise Oiled Man. Why do I feel like I've seen your name somewhere? Were you in chat maybe yesterday? Why do I notice your name? And Zach Britt, thank you guys for the follows. 3 too bad for him. 3, 4, 2, 4. Q1 champion status is 1 up more. Yeah, true. Yeah, that's where I remember you from, Bob. Thank you for coming through with the follow, man. Yeah, I'm gonna go 3 for Stroll. Next up, we have got Isaac Hedger. He had a bit of a weird weekend. Get your votes in chat. Again, if you're just tuning in, no poll today. The poll website's down, unfortunately. So we're soldiering on without poll website. So we can't see what you guys collectively vote. Anyways, Isaac Hedger qualified P9 in qualifying. He did an awesome job. He was a 10th off of out-qualifying Piastri. He out-qualified Behrman by 2/10, and he out-qualified Liam by 1.2 seconds. And yeah, he out-qualified Yuki. He out-qualified Alonso Hulkenberg. He did a really good job. You know, second best of the rest in qualifying. However, in the race, what actually happened to him on the race start? He lost a position to... Oh, he had a poor race start, it looks like. He lost a position to Ocon off the bat. And then... What happened? And then he battled with Bortoletto. Oh yeah, then he was battling Bortoletto for points. And then it kind of just fell off towards the end of the race. To be honest, Hedger hasn't had a bad weekend. Like, he's done really, really well in qualifying. He was not going to be beating Ocon because Ocon had a better car. He legitimately raced Bortoletto for the points. It's just a shame that he finished behind Albon and Yuki. So, yeah, good qualifying. Kind of poor race pace. I'm going to go maybe like a 6, 6.5. Like, at the end of the day, he did beat his teammate. He did qualify well. And I don't think the car was capable of getting... maybe it should have gotten points, but I just don't know why he's finished behind Albon and Yuki. But then again... No, Williams was better. Well, no, Williams was better. For sure. Red Bull should be better. It's only Bortoletto that's like, okay, maybe he could have beaten Bortoletto, but... Yeah. Maybe I'll go 6. I'm going a 6 for Hedger. Hedger P1 and Q1. He went off, won the first lap and lost positions to Ocon and Piastri. Oh, there you go. Wait. No, Piastri started in front of him. Yeah, I'm going to go 6. I'm going to go 6 for Hedger. After you guys vote, let me know in chat why you voted for, voted that so we can discuss it a little bit, especially considering we don't have the poll today. We're going to have less to talk about, so it's going to be quite a quick driver ratings. Anyways, next driver we've got is Alex Albon. So Alex had a very poor qualifying. Out in Q1, he was 3/10 off of Sainz, but most importantly, he was 10 positions behind Sainz. He got out qualified by both Saubers, by both VCarbs, by Alonso, by both Haas's, and by just a mile by his teammate. However, in the race, he managed to throw himself up to P12, but to be honest, I think that's expected for the Williams, and I would have liked to have seen him do better, especially given Yuki's form and Bortoletto and the Sauber not looking too great, and his teammate retiring. I would have liked to have seen him in the points. So I don't really think Albon's had a great weekend, to be honest. Very poor qualifying, and not managed to recover to where I'd expect him to in that Williams. The only benefit of the doubt I'd give him is the fact that the car maybe had issues in the race, similar to Sainz. But yeah, I think he's had a bit of a poor weekend. So I'm going to say I feel like it should be even lower than a 4. No, I'll probably go a 4 for Albon. He's qualified badly, and he's recovered lower than what he should have done with 4 retirements. Yeah, pretty poor weekend. But at the end of the day, at least he kept it on track and finished maybe around where he should. So I'll go 4. My first Ponden drive ratings, and I get no poll. No, anarchist. Yeah, no, honestly, the poll is so helpful because then I can reference it and we can talk a bit about it. So it's a shame it's not working today. Bean, thank you so much for the follow, dude. And thank you so much for coming in with Prime, man. Really do appreciate your support of the stream. They have a subbing for the very first time. Appreciate it, dude. Love that. Love when someone follows and subs straight away. Bad week for Albon. 5 for you. Bad week for him. Albon tried the hard and didn't work. Yeah, true. His strategy was bad. First time catch you live. Let's go. You from America, Ben? If he was on med, he probably would have been fighting in the points. True. What about Mario? All right. I'm going to go 4 for Albon. It was a poor weekend for him, personally. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, maybe. But we'll see. We'll never know, I mean. All right. Yuki. What do you rate Yuki out of 10? Obviously, we do have to kind of stay in line with the way we've normally rated the second Red Bull driver seat, although Yuki's not doing a terrible job. Actually, it was kind of a bad weekend, wasn't it? He qualified P11. He got out-qualified by Max by only 2/10, to be fair, but that was enough to go out in Q2, and Max made it through. He got out-qualified by Ollie, by Isaac, and by Carlos. But he did qualify P11, so it wasn't too bad. However, in the race, he managed to... Off the start, he jumped up ahead of Piastri, up ahead of, well, actually Sainz took pen, so yeah. But then it kind of fell away. Actually, he had a bad pit stop, didn't he? Oh, no, he had a bad pit stop. Yeah, 12-second pit stop sent him to the back of the grid. Yeah, it's a shame. And then, yeah, it's obviously hard to work through the field after that, and he managed to recover to P11, so... Yeah, I don't know. This is a hard one. His qualifying wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. Like, he was still close to Max. He should be doing better. For Red Bull standards, it's not too bad of a quali in terms of, like, the gap to Max. And then, yeah, the race, he was actually probably on for a decent result if it wasn't for the pit stop. It's kind of hard to rate because it's like, you can't give him a good rating because his qualifying was bad and didn't get points. But at the same time, it's kind of hard to give a low rating when he doesn't really... deserve a low rating. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe just dead on 5 then. Like, should have done better, but probably would have done better if it wasn't for the team fucking up the pit stop. Logi Mischief and 2 Tivo. Thank you guys for the follows. 6, pit stop killed anything good about his race, sadly. 5, 5.5, 6, 5. UK, but just a YouTube view. I've been lurking for a while. Want to join on the fun. Hell yeah. Well, welcome to the stream, dude. Because Max also didn't do so well in quality and stop ruined his race. I went sick. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Other part of my dream is for you to say hi to me. What's up, Theodore? I have seen you spam in the chat. I have seen you in the chat. So you think this was an average weekend by Yuki? Yeah, this is the tough thing, right? I think for the second Red Bull seat, this is an average weekend. Like, qualifying P11, only 2/10 behind Max. And then It's just, I think it would be lower, but I've given him a 5 because he actually probably would have had a decent result. But still, finishing P8 in a Red Bull isn't great when your teammate's in P3 battling for P2. So I know it's hard, man. It's hard. I'm probably gonna go 5. I think he was doing well enough. Yeah, it's just the qualifying wasn't great. At the end, he was with a pretty good pace for points. Yeah, maybe a 5. It's like, should I give him a 5.5? Was that me letting Red Bull standards come into it? I think I'm letting Red Bull standards come into it too much. I think 5 is fair. We gotta keep the ratings fairly with like Checo and Liam. I'm going 5. I'm going 5. All right. Let's move on to the top 10 now. The first driver to finish in the points. We've got Gabriel Bortoleto. Get your votes in chat. If you're just tuning in, we're doing our driver ratings for the Mexico City Grand Prix. Unfortunately, we don't have a poll on stream today because it's broken. So just type in chat what you vote for and let me know why you voted for it, and then we'll discuss it. So first of the points finishes, we've got Gabriel Bortoleto finishing in P10. Now, he had a bit of an underwhelming qualifying. He qualified in P16. He got out-qualified by his teammate by 2/10. He also got out-qualified by Liam, by Alonso. Yeah, but he did qualify P16, so he wasn't right down at the back. And then he had an amazing race. I mean, obviously there was 4 retirements, but he worked his way through the field, you know, finishing ahead of a driver like Albon, and only finishing 1 second behind Ocon, who was in a much faster car. I think he's had a really, really good weekend, but I would say a lot of that has come down to luck, or I should say the unluckiness of other drivers. So I'm going to say a 7.5 for Bortoleto. I think if Hulk was still in the race and he finished behind Hulk, I would probably give him a 7.5. If Hulk was in the race and he finished ahead of Hulk, I would give him higher. If Hulk was in the race, I'd probably still give him a 7.5. So I think there's no point in giving him higher just because he had a great result. Because at the end of the day, like, you know, Yuki had a bad pit stop. Alpine suck, and then there's 4 DNFs. Like, the only person you really beat on track was Hadjar. You know what I mean? So is that really a good result? Especially after he's had a bad qualifying. So, yeah, I think 7.5 is fair. I think 7.5 is fair. But what do you guys think? 9, Gabby 10 out of 10. 10, no, that's way too high. 8, 10, what? 8, 8.5, 8.5, 7, 7.5, 7, not a great quality, but decent race. 8, because dude went from P6 to P10 and got points. 7, 7, 7. 6 for me. 8 is good for me. Yeah, right, maybe even a 7. It was a track he didn't know. That's true. That's true. I mean, that also has to do with Ocon being on 98 lap old medium. True, true. Shout out Ocon on the fucking old tires, as always. Yeah, I think I'm going to stick with 7.5. Would be higher if Hulkenberg was in the race and he beat Hulk. But Hulk wasn't there. So, yeah. Alan Cantara, Budgie, my sludgy, and Naked Neighbor. Thank you guys for the follows. Welcome to the stream. All right, I'm going 7.5 for Bortoleto. Next up, we have got Esteban Ocon. Now, a weird weekend for Ocon because at the end of the day, he's gotten 2 points. But that Haas looked very strong, and his teammates up in P4. So you could argue kind of underwhelming for Ocon in a way. Anyways, in qualifying, Ocon qualified P12. Only 2 positions behind Behrman and only 1/10 down. So not too bad, but still getting beaten by his teammate. And then in the race, Behrman's managed to move his way up to 4th and finish ahead of Piastri, the Mercedes, and Lewis, but most importantly, 35 seconds ahead of Behrman. Sorry, 35 seconds ahead of Ocon. Why am I talking about Behrman? Ocon's finished 35 seconds behind Behrman. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. I feel like Ocon's had a decent result, but in comparison to teammate, it was weak. So, I feel like it's a 7. Like, he's done his job. Like, he qualified just behind his teammate, which isn't great, but he made up for it in the race by finishing where he should in the Haas, but his teammate's just an exceptionally better. So yeah, I think 7. What did I give Bortoleto? 7.5. Yeah, I think did Bortoleto have a better weekend than Ocon? Is that fair? That's probably not. That doesn't sound right. Bortoleto had a worse qualifying than Hulk, but then Bortoleto moved up. I don't know. Maybe Bortoleto and Ocon are gonna have the same rating. I don't know. I don't know what to rate Ocon here. It's kind of hard. Um, Ocon a decent 8, got schooled by his rookie teammate, and he didn't crash out the leader for once. 8, 6.5, 6.7, 7. 8.5, did well in the mediums. 8, he had a good race. Behrman was really good. Would have had an even better result if he wasn't behind Tsunoda for like 30 laps. Was so much slower, and Haas rightly kind of sacrificed him a little bit to help Behrman. Yeah, fair. I feel like you compare too much to Behrman. He had an all-timer. 8 minimum. He had an all-timer? Maybe. I gotta bump him up to a 7.5. He wasn't that far behind Behrman in qualifying, and like you guys said, like he did kind of help Behrman a little bit, and it's just the way his race played out. So I'm gonna do 7.5. I'll match him with Bortoleto then. I think that's fair. The only thing is, I just think it is a bit disappointing, like 35 seconds behind your teammate, and Bortoleto's right behind you. So, yeah. Catch you later, Barrio. I don't know. This is hard. 7 or 7.5 for Ocon. What do you think? I'll let you guys decide. 8.5. He held up Piastri for about as long as he could. Finally found some qualifier. True, I forgot he was ahead of Piastri for a while. And 7 was good. 7.5, 7.5, 7, 7, 7.5. I gotta stick with 7.5. I'm going to 7.5. All right, next up, we move on to the big boys now. We've got Lewis Hamilton. What do you rate Lewis Hamilton out of 10? Yeah, guys, if you're just shooting the stream, we're doing our driver ratings. We do this every single Monday after a Grand Prix weekend, at the end of the stream. Normally we have a poll on stream that you can vote on, but it's not working. So just type in chat what you vote for. All right, Lewis, qualified P3, 1/10 behind his teammate, but still out-qualified both Mercedes, out-qualified Max. Put the Ferrari where it should be, but obviously still behind his teammate. Then in the race, got fucked over by Leclerc going off track and not giving the position back. Then got in the battle with Max, and then went off track, locked up and went off track, made a mistake, got a penalty for it, which I think is deserved, and then only managed to recover back to P8. It's a shame because I feel like this could have ended up being Lewis's best weekend of the year, or one of his best weekends of the year, and finished on the podium, but you know, that little fuck up cost him huge. So that's kind of like, how do I rate him because of this? How do I rate him? Because I do feel like the lockup and the pen was his fault, in my opinion. So, yeah. And he was slower than Leclerc in quali and in race pace. So, I don't know. I'm feeling like a 6.5, but I don't know. The reason I think a 6.5 is because, okay, he was a 10th behind his teammate in quali, but it wasn't bad, but he's still behind his teammate. So he's done a good job in quali. I'd probably give him like I'd give him an 8 for quali. And then in the race, like, he's made a mistake that has cost him all those positions. No, actually, I think I'm being too nice to Lewis. I think I'm being too nice to Lewis because I know people are going to be like, the pen was unfair. The pen was unfair. But like, at the end of the day, he locked up. He went off track. He gained an advantage. He didn't give the position back. So he can only blame himself for that. If he didn't lock up, he wouldn't have got the pen. If he gave the positions back, he wouldn't have got the pen. And his race pace was slower than Leclerc. Oh, maybe it is lower. Maybe it is lower than 6. I don't know. You kind of got to look at it at face value, right? Like, you know, take Lewis's name out of it. Take the incident out of the equation. A driver got qualified by their teammate, but still qualified the car where they should. Then made a mistake in the race that cost him 5 positions. Like, and had a slower race pace. I don't know. 6 sounds about right. 5 is so fair. Feels a bit harsh. 6 is fine. 6 is good. He did have floor damage, just as a note, but I think 6 is still fine. You guys are harsh. That 10-second ruined his race. Should have been a podium here. Yeah, but it was his fault. But Max also didn't properly give back the plays which forced him to break and lock up. Yeah, but at the end of the day, if he didn't... But no, you can't say Max caused Lewis to lock up. Because whether Max was giving the plays back or not, Lewis would have locked up there regardless. Yeah, I think you guys are right. I think I'm going to go 6. It's a shame. Because again, if he didn't get that pen, he would have probably got a podium. Well, actually, question. Let's imagine the race played out the exact same way it did, but Lewis was in P3. I don't think Lewis's race pace would have allowed him to stay ahead of Max. I think Max would have finished P3 in that race, to be honest. Because, yeah, Lewis was lapping slower than Leclerc. Yeah, I guess you could argue that's probably the damage, but, yeah. But, yeah, then you could argue, like, if Leclerc gave the position back to Lewis, I don't know. It's all F. And that's where I'm like, maybe if I just rate Lewis based off his performance this weekend, it should be higher. But then if you rate him based off of the fact that he gave himself a penalty, I'll go 6.5. If I'm rating the performance, I'll go 6.5. But maybe that's too nice for Lewis. I don't know. Max used Hamilton as an extra break, though. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he was making that corner without Lewis there. You talking about turn 1? Lewis was sadly on the losing side of the steward, leaving start instance unpunished. As a wise man once said, if my mum had balls, she'd be my dad. Exactly. I don't know. I'm very torn. I'm torn. Because I feel... Okay, I'm going to stick to 6 because I feel like Lewis, regardless of what happened the turn before, Lewis locked up. And if he didn't lock up and go wide, he wouldn't have got a pen. So that's his fault, and that cost him a race. So I'm going to go 6. All right, we'll move on. Next up, we've got George Russell. What do you rate George out of 10? Theodore, I saw you type 6-7 like 14 times in chat, right? 6-7, funny number. But we were chill with the spam. Anyways, what do you rate George Russell out of 10? Do the meme. I was considering it, but I'm good. Anyways, George Russell in quali out-qualified Antonelli by 1/10. He also out-qualified Max Verstappen and was just behind Lewis. That Mercedes wasn't looking too great this weekend, so I think he did a good job of P4. However, in the race, he... This is where it gets fucky, right? Because everyone cut the track and then stayed ahead. And we can sit here and be like, oh, well, if they didn't cut the track, Russell would have done better. But then, like, that's just the way the rules are. So, what? We're going to, like, I don't know. Like, yeah. Anyways, he lost out to... He got pushed off track by Max, then he lost out to Behrman. And then he was struggling behind Kimi. He didn't get let through. He did look quicker than Kimi, though. Then he got let through. Wasn't able to catch Behrman. And then had to swap back. And then... yeah, just ended in P7. He kind of just, in a way, he kind of just like ran his own race. Like he didn't really, I don't know. He's dropped from what was it, P4? Yeah, P4 to P7. Yeah, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe like 6.5 for Russell. Yeah, at least he out-qualified Kimi, but then his race was worse. Surely you can't rate him higher than Lewis. I mean, he out-qualified Kimi, which Lewis didn't. Lewis didn't out-qualify his teammate. And, I mean, I don't know, the Mercedes was much worse than the Ferrari this weekend, I think. He's beaten by a Haas, yeah. But then also George beat Lewis, so, I don't know. I don't know, it's so hard, man. It's so hard to rate with all the fucky stuff. I think a 7 pace wasn't in the card, to be honest. If you're giving Lewis a 6, Russell was at least a 70. I think 6.5. Russell doesn't have to out-qualify Leclerc. Yeah. Yeah. How are you rating Ham better than George? Ham is in the second part. Yeah, I got to agree with you. I'm going 6.5 for Russell, I think. I think, you know, he did out-qualify his teammate, and he did get a bit unlucky in the race. But... yeah. He finished in P7 at the end of the day. Not great. Not great. I don't know. I'm thinking of even a 7. No, 7 seems high for a driver that finished 7th. Like, look where Ollie finished. Like, the Merc was not worse than the Haas. Ollie just drove a great race. The Mercedes kind of got tangled on each other. I'm going 6.5 for Russell. I'm going 6.5. I feel like I can't go higher than that. I don't know. I'll go 6.5. It's so awkward about the poll, man. I missed the polls. How many drivers you rated so far? Well, we've done 14 because we're up to P6 now. All right, what do you rate Antonelli out of 10? Let me know in chat. All right, so Kimi qualified behind Max and Russell. He was 1/10 down, but he kind of qualified where he should be. So yeah. Then in the race, he managed to get ahead of Russell and then held on. His race pace wasn't better than Russell, but he managed to hold on. Unfortunately, he got jumped by Piastri in the pits, which is a shame because I think Antonelli actually could have done a good job of actually holding on to Piastri and finishing ahead. And then they inverted back. So, yeah. Honestly, I think I'm just going to give him the same rating as Russell. I think he had slightly worse quality and race pace than Russell, but he kind of drove in a way to get himself ahead of Russell, which Russell didn't. So I'm going to go 6.5, the same as Russell, I think. Kind of balances out a little bit. His race pace wasn't that great. Well, he did hold off Piastri for a very long time. The only reason Piastri got ahead was because of the pit stop, which wasn't his fault. Could do chat poll. Yeah, but chat poll, you can only do 4. You can only do 4 things on the poll, so it kind of becomes fucked. Redline, thank you for the follow. Yeah, I'm going to go 6.5 for Kimi. Add 0.5 for not overly using the radio like George. 7.5-ish, I think he did a good job for what his car had, but should have got Behrman. Yeah, I don't know, it's hard. It depends where you think the Mercedes was. I feel like, I don't know. For me, I feel like with how well Behrman did, the Mercedes should have been able to outrace Behrman. You know what I mean? Yeah. All right. Next up, we move on to the top 5 now. Big one. We've got Oscar Piastri. What do you rate Oscar out of 10? Now, Oscar got out-qualified by his teammate by 6/10, and he got out-qualified by Carlos Sainz. Yikes. Then, in the race, he got stuck. He lost positions off the start by making a mistake. He dropped behind, was it Yuki? He dropped behind Yuki off the start. Then he managed to catch the pack in front only because the pack started to tangle up on each other. He was in my opinion, not as fast as them. Then once he caught the pack, the Mercedes did a really good job of holding him back. The only reason he was able to jump in front of Kimi was because of Mercedes' poor pit stop. And then that was it. That was basically Piastri's race. It was qualify bad, lose position off the start, and then get past Yuki, which I guess isn't that hard to do when you're in the McLaren and the fastest car, and finish ahead of Mercedes only because they fuck up their pit stop and finish 42 seconds behind your teammate. Yeah, Piastri's had a poor weekend. I think he should not be finishing that low on his teammate, and I think you know, he wouldn't have finished ahead of Kimi or either of the Mercedes if it wasn't for Mercedes having a bad pit stop. And obviously Lewis had the race that he had, so yeah. I think it's a 4. I think it's a 4 for Piastri. Look, at the end of the day, he didn't crash. He didn't have like a huge mistake other than lap 1. But yeah, we'll give him a point because he worked his way through the field, but it was a little bit down to luck. But what do you guys think? Matty Bomba, thank you so much for the 9-month resub, dude. Really do appreciate you coming in with the tier 1. Thank you, thank you, thank you, man. Thank you for supporting, as always. Yeah, thank you, dude. Sorry, I thought I read that wrong. Yeah, thank you for coming with the tier 1. For Piastri's car saved him this week, and I'm sorry to also need and use your championship contenders tie info, just bad showing. I forgot about that. Oh, forgot about the 6/10. 6, 4, 3, 5, 4, 6, 3. There's no way we should be doing what he should be doing what he did. He lost the lead of the championship. That's a 5 for me. Can't be higher than 4.5. Surely it's below average weekend 4 for me. Terrible quality. 6, awful quality. So many places lost at the start. But he did much better later in the race. Yeah, but the only reason he did good in the late race was because Merck had a poo pit stop. 4, nothing higher. Lando leading by 30 seconds. He should have finished no lower than P4. Crazy how far he falls behind his teammate when there's none of these repercussions for his teammate. Hope he can get his groove back by the end of the season. The reason he lost position at the start is because he didn't like cut the rest on the dirty side. Yeah, true. He drove all right, but his recovery def had some luck in it. Solid 5. Got the Mercs, had a nice overtake on George. Yeah, to be fair, he did have a nice overtake on George. That is right. That is fair. Yeah, I'm going Piastri, giving Piastri a 4 for his performance. All right, next up, we've got Ollie Behrman. What do you rate Ollie out of 10? What a weekend for this kid, man. Ollie qualified in P10. He outqualified Ocon by 1/10. He did get outqualified by Hedger and Sainz by 2 3/10, but I don't think that's much of a problem, especially when you redeem yourself in the race. Well, I say redeem yourself. Qualifying P10 is not bad. It's more like, I want people to know, like, I only give out 10s when you have a perfect weekend. And I don't think he was perfect in quali, but I think he overachieved in race. So it kind of like, you know, you still get a 10. And I think at the end of the day, Haas might have set up their car for the race anyway. But yeah, he outqualified his teammate by a 10th, got outqualified by Hedger by 2/10, but still made it through to Q3 and a Haas, which I did not expect at this point in the weekend. Then in the race, had an awesome race start, positioned his car perfectly in all the situations and put himself into the podium position. And then, yeah, unfortunately, Haas were really stupid in pitting him. You could argue that he also had a say in the strategy, which, you know, sometimes when I do driver ratings, I say the drive is 50-50 on the strategy. And, you know, he obviously also decided to pit off of a one stop and wasn't the right decision in the end because he ended up finishing behind Max. But he did such a good job of positioning his car in every situation and putting his car into P4, but also keeping the pace up to hold behind Oscar Piastri, the championship leader in a McLaren, and both Mercedes drivers, and to only finish 9 seconds behind Max and hold off Max for a good while as well. He did such an awesome job. So yeah, I am giving Ollie Behrman a 10. Despite it not being a perfect weekend, I think he overachieved in that car this weekend, and he deserves a 10 out of 10. What the fuck? This hair is pissing me off. I can see it dangling right in front of my eyes. Yeah, what are you guys rating? 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, easy 10, 10, easy. Holding off Piastri and Merckx is crazy in that car. Oh, absolutely. No discussion. Solid 10, 9, 9.5. Took advantage on lap 1 and stayed on track. Some of the top finishers can't say the same. Absolutely brilliant race for him. Only missed out of the podium because of Red Bull's good strategy. Was it Red Bull's good strategy or was it the other teams fumbling? But yeah. Him not instantly getting passed by McLaren and a Haas is insane. I personally believe he would have held him off without the VSC. Well, yeah, he said he saved up his whole battery. So yeah, they had to pit to cover everyone else. Could have fallen off a cliff. Yeah, true. We'll never know. Anyways, solid 10 for Behrman. Welcome to the 10 club. I think he might have got a 10 another point this year, but I can't remember now. All right, let's move on to the top 3. What do you rate Max Verstappen out of 10? Get your votes in. If you're just tuning into the stream, we're doing our driver ratings every single Monday after a Grand Prix weekend. We rate the drivers on stream. So join me Monday after the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Normally have a poll on screen that you can vote on, but the poll website's not working. So just type in chat what you vote for. So Max in qualified P5. He got out qualified by Russell. Yeah, he got qualified by Russell, which I would have liked to have seen him do. But I think, for the most part, he qualified where I expected in that Red Bull with how hard it looked to drive. He outqualified Kimi, he outqualified Piastri, and he outqualified his teammate by 2/10, which, to be honest, for Max's standards, 2/10 on Yuki isn't great. But, yeah, at the end of the day, he still outqualified his teammate. However, in the race, you know, typical Max Verstappen fashion, you know, goes to the move on turn 1, doesn't work, but doesn't lose anything from taking the risk. Then goes for a move on Lewis, doesn't get punished for it, plays 50-50 with the FIA. Regardless of what you think of it, at the end of the day, he 50-50'd an incident and got away with it. Yeah, had to go long on the softs, but was pumping in absolutely insane laps on those tires, was chasing down Charles and almost was able to get P2. Maybe would have got it if it wasn't for the VSC, but we'll never know. Yeah, I feel like Max did the best he could he didn't overperform in the car, I think, in quali, but I do think he did qualify where he should do. Probably should have outqualified Russell in my opinion. However, in the race, I think he overperformed. Yeah, so I think Max is, I don't know, I'm thinking like an 8.5 or a 9. I feel like 0.5 for if he had outqualified Russell, and then 0.5 maybe for his antics on track, and then 0.5 he had a beat Leclerc. What do you guys think? He was too fast. 8, I think he fumbled quali, but yeah, the race was near perfection. Yeah, I think if he had started ahead of Russell, then maybe he would have got the lead. Who knows? 7, Verstappen's so incredibly good at using the rules to his advantage. It's just a shame that because of this, we don't get to see much of clean wheel-to-wheel racing from Max, which is annoying. If he cleanly overtook the field to get onto the podium, fair, but he didn't, in my opinion. He just got lucky with turn 1. Yeah, fair. One more lap and he would have had Leclerc. 8, probably should have out-qualified George, but only George, and had great pace on the one stop. I don't like his driving against Lewis. I'm not a Lewis fan. Quali wasn't great, so 8.5. Max was a solid 8, maybe 7.5. Not the best quali, but car setup didn't allow him to get pole with a bump in S2, sector 2. Good start, but nearly put himself into the wall. Got away with some cheeky moves, but drove brilliantly after everything settled down, and that final stint was great. Without his second half of the race, this would be a 6 for me. Def a rocky weekend, but a good one. Massive lock up in the start and almost binned it. Had great pace and also got lucky with the strat. Lucky with the strat? I don't know if I agree with lucky with the strat. If you're the only one that's doing it and it ends up being the right one, I don't know. I'd agree if like there was a safety car or something, but yeah. You got lucky there was no penalties. Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to go 8.5 for Max. I think he's put the car where it should in quali and overperformed in the race. And, you know, I think the thing is, if Max had got penned, his rating would have been lower. It's one of those things where you 50-50 to pen and he got away with it. And he ended up having a good race. So you kind of got to, you know, commend him for that in a way. Yeah. Okay, 8.5. All right. In P2, we have got Charles Leclerc. Okay. Interesting one. If you looked at Charles Leclerc's weekend results without knowing anything, I would be like solid 9. You know, put the car P2 in quali, out-qualified his teammate, brought the car home in P2. Cool. But when you take into account that he basically just cut the first corner, left everyone else in the dust to battle, and didn't really have to do anything to bring the car home to P2, it's like, does he deserve a lower rating? Ooh. Anyways, let's talk about it. So Charles qualified P2. He was 1 tenth ahead of Lewis. Put the car exactly where it should. Amazing work. I'd give him a 9.5 for quali. Then in the race, got boxed in, decided to cut, got away with not getting a penalty, gained an advantage, didn't get a penalty. Which I guess you could argue, like, he knows that's allowed, or maybe you could argue the FIA just didn't fucking care. And yeah, kind of just drove his own race the whole time. And then Max was pumping out the laps. Max did such an amazing job, caught up to him. We didn't really get to see him defend against Max, really, because the VSC ended up coming out on those last 2 laps, or the last lap. Was it the last lap or last 2 laps? Yeah, it was the last 2 laps, wasn't it? So, yeah. Lucky to have not got a pen for the turn 1 incident. Lucky that a VSC came out. But at the same time, that's kind of out of his control. So, I don't know. Do we demote points from him because he got lucky, or do we just go, well, that's out of his control, he still had a good weekend? You know what I mean? Because I think that's the fair thing to do, is like, it's not his fault that, like, he still had better race pace than Lewis. The only thing I'd kind of knock him for is his pace on the softs at the end, and Max catching. So I don't know. I don't know if it should be a 9 or an 8.5. Kind of a tough one. 8.5 would look good, but he also got lucky for not having to give places back at the start. 8 got away with that dumb move in turn 1. It's not his fault he didn't get a pen, though. Yeah, exactly. 9, I would say he maximized the car. I mean, sure, a bit lucky with the VSC in the first corner, but I don't think we can talk about his situation. Yeah. Team took a risk with the medium. It didn't look others would put a pit till Kimi and Oscar started the sequence, and even though Max was rapid, he wouldn't have overtaken everyone to get a podium. He did not compete whatsoever with Lando and didn't even try, so I'm not really sure how to feel about it. They all did cut the corner. He got away with it. So good for him. He drove brilliantly, qualified well. Solid 8.5, maybe even a 9. Low 8, great qualifying. Pooh start on the race, cut the track and get an advantage and somehow got away with it and just drove. Good defending from Max in the last 2 laps. Would have been a hard. Yeah, it's a hard one. It's a hard one. I feel like at worst he has to match Max because. But then again, like Max outperformed the car in the race, whereas Leclerc drove the car how it should in the race, and like almost let Max catch him. But then, do you commend Leclerc for hanging on with those tires? I feel like 8.5 is fair. I feel like Max could have done better in quali, which would have made his race better, and Leclerc put the car exactly where it should be in both sessions. And yeah, we can knock a little bit off. I'll knock 0.5 off for quali because, like, maybe he could have done a little bit better. And we'll knock 0.5 off for being lucky. And then 0.5 off for his race. I don't know. I think 8.5 is fair. I'm going to go 8.5. It's hard. It's hard. I feel like if we congratulate Max getting away with his penalty, we should do the same. Well, Max's incidents were different. Max's turn 1 incident was... lap 1 incident was he made a mistake and didn't lose anything from it. And his turn 1 incident with Lewis was he 50-50'd overtake and he got away with it. Whereas Leclerc's was just like, well, yeah, he just got away with it. And like, can we blame Leclerc? Like, I mean, he got P2 at the end of the day. I don't know. I think 8.5 is fair. I think 8.5. Maybe there's an argument for 9, but yeah. All right. Moving on. Final driver. Definitely not least. Lando Norris. I mean, I don't even need to put the question mark there. Straight to a 10. But what do you guys rate Lando out of 10? I mean, Lando had a phenomenal weekend. This is when I hear Lando's going to be in a championship winning car, these are the type of performances that I think of when I think of Lando Norris. Well, I used to think of, I should say, is like so dominant in quali pace and in race pace, and easily would be a championship contender. It's such a shame that something happened to him in the last 2 years where he kind of has been notoriously known for being a bottler. But like the performance this weekend is a prime example of what Lando is capable of. And for years and years, when he was delivering and was basically saying, if I got a championship winning car, I'd win the championship, it's performances like this that, you know, back up what he's saying. Anyways, in quali, 3 tenths ahead of Charles Leclerc in P2 and 6 tenths ahead of his teammate who's in P8. Amazing stuff. Absolutely Max overperformed in qualifying, in my opinion. And then in the race, finished 30 seconds up the road from Charles. Had a really good start as well. So, like, you know, I can't even criticize him for his start. Had an awesome start. The only reason he was 4 wide into turn 1 was because of the slipstream. Kept it clean. Drove off in the distance. Never saw him again. Yeah. Sorry, I got distracted. What was I going to say? And yeah, his race pace was great. Managed well. Oh, what was I going to say? Oh, and I don't think that McLaren is a comfortable car to drive at the moment. You know, just like we praised Max most of the time this season with like, okay, the car's hard to drive. The car's hard to drive. Visibly looking at Piastri and Lando's car, that car is hard to drive at the moment. So for him to perform the way he did in a car that is difficult just goes to show, I think, how good of a driver Lando is and how, you know, when he's able to string it together, he is such a good driver. And yeah, it was one of those weekends where, you know, he showed his raw pace and quality in the race without bringing any mistakes into it. You know, maybe if there was a car to race him, whether it's his teammate and Max, maybe we would have seen signs of bottling. But when there's no pressure, he's perfect. And he had a perfect weekend. So 10 out of 10 for Lando. But what are you guys saying? 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. He was kind of in his own world until Max put on new tires. Oh, you were talking about the previous. Oh, you're talking about Leclerc. Easiest 10 for Norris. Practice was great. Quality was beautiful. Race was perfection. Plus, his attitude this weekend has been respectable. Not cocky, just confident. Yeah, exactly. Hope this Lando remains for the foreseeable future. Excited for the rest of the year. Yeah, this is the Lando I remember from 2019 to 2023. So weird how it just changed in the last 2 years. Literally, only thing he missed out on was fastest lap. Didn't even do FP1. Yeah, true. Oh, that's even a good point. Didn't even do FP1 and he delivered the result he did this weekend. Yeah, 11 maybe. I mean, 30.3 seconds has to be the most dominant thing I've seen in the last 2 years. I prefer to give benefit of the doubt to guys getting fucked by unfair incidents and ignore stewards in action to guys that got away with it. I'm not sure if it's the best approach, but feels fair. Most of it. Yeah, fair. 10, he didn't put a single foot wrong the entire weekend. This was the definition of perfect weekend. Almost identical to Max's weekend at Coda. Flawless drive. Yeah, I agree. Literally lap 1 of FP2, he was only like a 10th down on Oscar. That's when I knew he was winning this weekend. Norris has been comfortable. Has not been comfortable this entire season. His improvement from Canada, especially since Sample, is not something to ignore. Yeah, I agree. Norris was on for the fastest lap on the last lap until the VSC ruined. Oh, really? Was he saving it? I'm so excited for the last 4. I hope we get some good fights. Yeah, I hope we just get some good entertainment, regardless of who wins. Anyways, guys, 10 for Lando, 10 for Behrman. Who was the third highest rated driver? Who was third highest rated? Max, I guess. Max and Leclerc. Did anyone get a 9? I don't think anyone got a 9. I guess Max and Leclerc. And then after them, maybe Bortoletto and Ocon, something like that. Race rating based off of entertainment. I give it like an A-. Like, it was enjoyable to watch, and there's a lot of good moments, but not much really happens in the grand scheme of things. And I wouldn't like watch that race back, but I definitely watched the highlights back, and I enjoyed it in the moment. So yeah, I'd say like an A- or something like that. Yeah, Max and Leclerc both had 8.5s. For someone who said that on any given weekend he can show up and have no feeling in the car, I think this weekend is even more impressive. Yeah, true. Anyways, guys, that wraps up the driver ratings for today. Thank you all for joining me. If you enjoyed, be sure to follow down below. If you're watching on YouTube right now, be sure to subscribe and hit the like button. Again, we do this every single Monday after a Grand Prix weekend, so join me after the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Sorry if we kind of went through that a bit quicker than normal. 1, we didn't have the polls on screen because the poll website was down. But 2, I did go live a little bit later today. And I'm just conscious of noise, so didn't want to talk too much. Anyways, yeah, thank you guys all for joining me. YouTube, I'm going to end the stream there. Always be sure to join us on Twitch. We're always live on Twitch doing some different stuff. So come follow if you haven't already. Otherwise, YouTube, I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.